Do you ever sit on the couch at the end of a long day, phone in hand, Netflix humming in the background, and just feel tired? But not the good kind of tired. Not the I did meaningful things today tired. I mean the foggy, empty, low-grade exhaustion kind of tired, where even resting doesn't feel restful. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And no, it's not just because you're getting older or bad at time management. It's probably because your work-life balance has been quietly unraveling, and you didn't even notice. And I get it. You're doing your best. Maybe you're building your career, raising a family, managing a relationship, trying to eat healthy, maybe squeeze in a workout, and somewhere in all that, you're told to find balance. But let's be honest, what does that even mean when your inbox is overflowing? Your kid just spilled juice on your one clean shirt, and you haven't had a single uninterrupted thought since Monday? That's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation. Because I don't think most people realize that our lives don't just fall out of balance because of big decisions. It's usually the little things, the quiet habits and assumptions we don't question that slowly chip away at our peace of mind. So if you've been feeling mentally stretched, emotionally numb, or like your days are running you instead of the other way around, this video is for you. I want to walk with you through a few of the most common yet invisible mistakes we make. Mistakes I've made too, that sabotage our work-life balance without us even realizing it. And maybe, just maybe, something clicks for you the way it did for me when I finally started noticing these patterns. Let me start with one that almost every working adult I know struggles with: saying yes when we should say no. We don't mean to overcommit. It just happens. A coworker asks for help finishing a report, and even though your own plate is full, you nod and say, "Sure, I can take a look." A friend wants to talk after a long day, and you pick up even though your brain feels like a dried-out sponge. Your kid's school needs volunteers again, and even though you've already used up all your lunch breaks this month, you click, "I'll help." We say yes because we care. We want to be dependable, helpful, loving. But what no one really teaches us is that saying yes to everything is just a slow way of saying no to ourselves. And when you do that long enough, your life becomes a never-ending to-do list, and your own needs don't even make the page. I remember a period of time, maybe about 2 years ago, when I was constantly behind. Not just on work, but on life. I was missing birthdays, forgetting to text people back, barely eating real meals. At one point, I caught myself apologizing to a friend for not replying to her text for 5 days, and I actually said, "I'm sorry, I've just been trying to catch up on life." She replied, "You've been catching up on life for like a year now. Maybe it's time to stop chasing and start choosing." That hit me hard. Because I realized that balance isn't just about doing less. It's about being more honest with ourselves about our limits. I had to relearn how to say no, even when it made me feel guilty. Especially when it made me feel guilty. Because that guilt was just the leftover habit of believing that I'm only valuable when I'm useful. Another mistake that sneaks in quietly, and this one's tough to spot, is treating rest like a reward instead of a requirement. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "Once I finish this project, then I'll take a break"? Or, "Once the kids are asleep and the house is cleaned up, then I'll relax"? We push rest to the end of the line, as if it's some luxury we only earn after we've emptied ourselves out. But here's what nobody told us in our 20s. Your brain and body don't wait for the perfect time to reset. They shut down when they have to. That's why burnout doesn't feel like one big crash. It feels like a slow leak. You don't notice you're emptying out until you're running on fumes. I used to be someone who wore exhaustion like a badge of honor. I thought being busy meant I was being productive. But honestly, I was just surviving. I'd wake up already tired, reach for caffeine like it was oxygen, and end each night scrolling through my phone in a weird half state of trying to relax, but also trying to feel like I wasn't wasting time. And the truth was, I wasn't resting. I was just numbing out. Eventually, I had to unlearn the idea that rest was something I had to earn. It's not. It's something I need in order to function. Full stop. So now I plan rest into my week, just like meetings or errands. It's not always perfect, and life still throws curveballs, but even the intention to rest has changed the way I move through the day. I'm not always chasing recovery anymore. I'm building in resilience. And here's something else I realized, and maybe you felt this too, that work-life balance isn't really about time. It's about energy. You can technically have free time, but still feel drained. You can leave work at 5, but bring it home in your head and carry it until midnight. That's why just managing your calendar isn't enough. You have to manage your boundaries. That brings me to something deeper and a bit harder to admit. We don't set boundaries because we're afraid of disappointing people. But here's the hard truth I had to learn. People who really love and respect you want you to have boundaries. The only people who get upset about your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you not having any. That realization was both painful and freeing, because it forced me to reevaluate not just how I was spending my time, but why. Was I helping because I wanted to? Or because I was scared to be seen as selfish? Was I overworking because I loved my job? Or because I didn't know who I was without the praise? It's not always easy to face those questions. But when you do, something amazing happens. You stop being pulled in every direction. You start living from the inside out instead of outside in. And I promise you, that shift from reactive to intentional, from scattered to grounded, is where balance really starts to grow. So where were we? Right there in that messy, raw place where boundaries start to feel like an act of self-respect instead of a guilty burden. That's where a lot of us start to wake up. We begin to realize that maybe this whole balance thing isn't about having equal slices of time for work and life, but about having enough presence and peace in both. And yet, even when we start setting some boundaries, even when we learn to say no and take rest seriously, there's another trap waiting. One that feels productive, but actually drains us deeply. I call it the always-on mindset. It's sneaky. You might be off the clock, technically, but you're still checking emails during dinner. You're thinking about tomorrow's meeting while brushing your teeth. You're answering work texts in the bathroom, replying to Slack messages while walking the dog, or mentally rehearsing your boss's feedback while your kid's trying to show you their drawing. Sound familiar? This mistake is so common because it hides under the mask of responsibility. You tell yourself, I just want to stay ahead, or it'll only take a second. But those seconds add up, and not just in minutes or hours. They cost us mental space, emotional capacity, the ability to actually feel like we've left work behind. I remember one night I was watching a movie with my partner, or I thought I was. Halfway through, they paused it and looked at me and said, "You haven't laughed once. You're not really here, are you?" And they were right. I was sitting next to them, but I was mentally at my desk, worrying about a project I hadn't finished. I realized that even when I wasn't working, I was still carrying work. That's when I knew I had to start building better mental boundaries, not just physical ones, not just laptop closed by 6 or no calls after dinner, but actual rituals that helped my brain shift gears. Now, I take a short walk after work to mentally transition out of work mode. I leave my phone outside the bedroom. I give myself a real moment, sometimes just 10 minutes, to check in with myself before jumping into someone else's demands. And here's the thing. It's not about being rigid. It's about being present. Because the people and moments that matter most, they deserve the full version of you, not the version still half scrolling through Slack threads in your mind. And while we're here, let's talk about something that's harder to pin down, but probably even more destructive than being always on. It's pretending you're okay when you're not. Now I know, this doesn't sound like a typical work-life balance issue, but hear me out. So many of us, especially adults between 25 and 50, have learned to keep it together on the outside while quietly unraveling on the inside. We keep going. We smile. We hit the deadlines, pack the lunches, answer the messages. And when someone asks how we're doing, we say, "I'm fine." Even when we're exhausted, anxious, lonely, or just plain overwhelmed. We do it because we don't want to worry anyone, or because we think we should be able to handle it. Or, and this one cuts deep, because we're afraid that if we stop for even a second, everything will fall apart. But here's the truth that finally set me free. You can't build a balanced life on a foundation of emotional denial. Ignoring what's really going on inside you doesn't make it go away. It just makes it come out sideways. In irritation, in burnout, in snapping at your partner for no reason, in crying over a commercial or feeling hollow on a Sunday night. And all the while you think the problem is time management or needing a vacation. But really, the problem is that you've been carrying way more than you were ever meant to carry alone. I remember a season where I felt like I was doing everything right, exercising, eating okay, staying productive, but still feeling this constant undercurrent of sadness. It wasn't dramatic, it was subtle, a heaviness I couldn't name. And one day, a friend asked me a question that caught me off guard. When's the last time you felt truly supported? I didn't know how to answer, not because no one cared about me, but because I hadn't let anyone in. I was too busy being fine, too busy keeping the image together, even though my inner world was falling out of sync. That was the moment I decided to stop hiding behind the smile. I started checking in with myself more honestly, letting people I trusted see the real version of me, not just the polished one. And it made a difference. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Because balance isn't just about your calendar, it's about your capacity. And your emotional bandwidth matters just as much as your schedule. So if you've been showing up for everyone else but quietly pushing your own feelings to the bottom of the list, please know this. You don't have to earn rest or help or care. You don't have to prove your worth by how much you can endure. You deserve balance now, exactly as you are. And that's where the healing begins. Because when you give yourself permission to feel, to rest, to say no, to be present, you're not just fixing your work-life balance. You're reclaiming your life, piece by piece, moment by moment. Let's keep that momentum going. So here we are, not at the end of a list, but deep in a conversation that so many of us have been avoiding for way too long. Because it's easier, isn't it? To just keep moving, keep juggling, keep surviving. It's easier to believe that one more time-blocking app or productivity hack will solve the problem. But what we're really wrestling with isn't time. It's the weight of our own expectations. And that brings me to one final mistake, probably the most common and definitely the most heartbreaking, measuring your worth by how much you can get done. Let's be real. We live in a culture that constantly tells us we are only as valuable as we are productive. That busy is a badge of honor, that your job title, your inbox, your to-do list, that's who you are. And if you dare to slow down, you risk being seen as lazy, unmotivated, even selfish. But I want to ask you something. When did we decide that our being was less important than our doing? I'll tell you when it hit me. I had just come off a brutal work week, back-to-back meetings, deadlines, a project that had gone sideways. I remember lying in bed on a Saturday morning, physically unable to get up. Not because I was sick, but because I was empty. And yet, my brain still whispered, "You're wasting time. You should be doing something." Doing what, exactly? More work? Cleaning the house? Catching up on emails? That's when I realized I didn't know how to exist without performing. And that scared me, because underneath all the striving, all the multitasking and late nights and bending over backwards to keep up, what I really wanted was to just be okay. To be loved, valued, accepted, even when I wasn't checking anything off. It took a while and I'm still learning, but I've started asking myself different questions now. Not what did I get done today, but did I show up with presence? Not how productive was I, but was I kind to myself? Not did I do enough, but did I feel like myself? And you know what? The more I ask those kinds of questions, the more balanced my life actually feels. Not perfectly, not every day, but enough to know that I'm no longer outsourcing my peace to my productivity. Because the truth is, your value was never supposed to come from your calendar. Your peace of mind isn't earned by grinding yourself into the ground. You are not a machine. You are not your output. You're a whole, complex, ever-evolving human being, and your life deserves room to breathe. If this hits close to home, if you're sitting there thinking, wow, I didn't realize how hard I've been on myself, I see you. And you are not weak for feeling tired. You're not broken for wanting more ease. You're simply human, in a world that's made it far too easy to forget what that really means. So maybe today, your work-life balance won't come from rearranging your schedule or reading another article. Maybe it starts with a choice, a single, quiet, radical choice to believe that you deserve more than just getting through the day. You deserve a life that has space for joy, for rest, for stillness, for being fully here. And that begins with awareness, with noticing the patterns you've been living on autopilot, with gently, compassionately challenging them. So if any of this resonated with you, I'd really love to hear about it in the comments. What's one small shift you're thinking about making after this? Even if it's something tiny, like not checking your email first thing tomorrow, that counts. It all counts. And if this conversation helped you feel a little less alone in the chaos of adult life, consider hitting that like button or subscribing. Not because I'm chasing numbers, but because I want to keep having real, honest, soul-nourishing conversations like this one. And I want you to be part of it. Because you're not the only one trying to figure this out. None of us are. We're all just walking each other home. One boundary, one deep breath, one small act of grace at a time. So take care of yourself today, okay? Say no to something that doesn't light you up. Close the laptop 10 minutes early. Tell someone how you're really doing. Let your worth be unearned. And remember this, your story isn't stuck. You're just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.